Okay, first of all, I want to let you know that this footage that you see is from Richard Burns Rally Pro, to be specific. Keep in mind that this game was made in 2004. It has been heavily modded, but just as an example, this is what's possible with, this old game engine. So we should see a huge advancement from Codemasters, being that, it's going to be a brand new game coming out here. Now, I want to let you know that these things I say are they're out of order. I'm not going to categorize them. I'm just going to speak on it. But I'm super excited for WRC 2023. So what can we expect from previous games, specifically rally games from Codemasters? Great sound design, of course, great graphics, decent physics. I'm going to say that, because I haven't been a fan of their physics. They're good, but they're not where they should be. Decent game optimization. The game runs pretty well. They have a ton of graphical options, in the settings. You can adjust it to your system, but there's still some frame skipping here and there in some areas. But yeah, we can expect some pretty decent optimization, I think. The game has been in development for around 5 years. I think they started before Dirt Rally 2 was released, from what I've heard. So it should be a polished game with minimal bugs, at least. So here's some things I want to see. Of course, the WRC, and they better nail those anti-lag sounds when you're off throttle. WRC generations, what are you doing? Those sounds are garbage. Onward. I want to see graphical improvements closer to real life. I don't want that cartoony sort of weird graphical vibe that Dirt Rally 2 has. I want it to be more gritty. No weird lighting issues in the cockpit view. Brighter lights in night rallies. It's almost like you're driving like a regular car with dim headlights sometimes. It's ridiculous. I want to see better shifting animations. They're kind of janky right now, and when you're turning sometimes, your hand starts wigging out and looks like you're jacking someone off on the side, because especially in VR, that takes you out of the moment. I want better stages, more stages, narrower stages. Perhaps bring back the procedurally generated stages, I don't know, from Dirt 4, I think it was. Maybe incorporate some stage building tools or some way to draw out a line, and maybe AI can sort of fill in what should be there. You just draw it in, kind of like AI painting, you paint a shape of a mountain and AI kind of fills it in with mountain textures, something like that. That'd be awesome. I want to see more co-driver options, more voices to choose from, and the ability to alter the notes. If you don't agree with them, I want to be able to change them. Maybe a built-in complaint system per stage, or after a crash, you could submit the area and the developers see people crashing in the same area. Maybe they'll go and change it. Perhaps even synthesize the co-drivers' voices, so you can actually make those changes without the person being present. I want to see better, more realistic replays. Maybe a mode that lets you fly a drone, and maybe an option to set up virtual cameras wherever you want and make little edits for people. You could send in oh, here's my run, and have some person with a really good eye, in VR, hold a camera, right? And have it be shaking a little bit like it would be, because your hand isn't a perfectly stable tripod. Your body is not a tripod. I want to see wildlife. I think I saw one deer in Dirt Rally 1, and it was a rare sight, whoa! Things that make the stage feel real, more lived in. People walking around, tripping on stuff, tripping on rocks, slipping, rolling down a hill. I want to see that kind of stuff. A rabbit in the woods, eating some kind of vegetation. An anthill on the side of the road. I want a breathing, lived-in feeling environment. We need a better career mode, one that actually feels like it's worth playing. There was such a bland, pointless career mode in Dirt Rally 2.0. Dirt Rally 2.0 felt more like a car collecting game, but it felt pointless because you could already use all the cars from the get-go if you didn't choose to limit yourself to the career mode. Maybe there should be a hardcore career mode that doesn't let you compete in certain classes online till you prove yourself. So when you start the game up, you could either select hardcore or freedom mode. Freedom mode would let you compete in whatever class you want from the get-go. I've said that twice now, get-go. And you would be grouped with similar people, right? People that have chosen that same thing. Kind of like in Battlefield 4. Not everyone wants assists. Not everyone wants an invincible car. You could crash into 1,000 trees and just keep going. Not everyone wants that. Not everyone wants a car that resets when you drive off a cliff, and then you get a 15-second time penalty instead of an ended rally. I just want better physics overall. The physics feel so forgiving in this game, especially in Rallycross, and hopefully Rallycross returns. I don't know if they still have that license. I think they do. I hope the developers are playing Richard Burns Rally and model it directly after that, and then improve on it. I think it'd be cool if you can get out of the car in a rally, after a crash and inspect the damage, maybe even fix the car from the outside of it. You know, instead of just pushing a button and then just getting a time penalty and then like having your car reset like a ghost from a different dimension, just like teleports you back to the track. I don't want that. I want a rally simulator. I want to be able to change my wheel in VR. Open the trunk, I want to grab the wheel, and then I want to take the old wheel off and put the new one on. That'd be awesome. I don't want the game to reset me. I don't want that at all. If I'm lost in the middle of the woods and I can't find my way back to the course, that's how it should be. Especially online. However long it takes me to get back to the course is how long it should take. If you're in VR and your car gets reset, it's super jarring. You know, same with like the audience members, right? The spectators, the crowd. If you lose control of your car, the people don't just stand there. They're gonna run out of the way. Just some kind of gameplay mechanic. You know, if the game thinks you're coming in a certain direction, just have them like run in a generalized direction, whatever. Just make it to where they can get out of the way. They might as well be trees or bushes. There might as well not be any human representations. I don't want PlayStation 2 NPCs in my rally game. And that's that. So in VR, I think menu navigation should be more like Assetto Corsa. If you're in VR in Assetto Corsa, you can use your mouse to navigate the menus. There's like a little dot that floats around and you can look around and the dot stays wherever it should be. That's how it should be in VR because, you know, if you don't have certain buttons assigned to your steering wheel or whatever, you just have to be fumbling around on your keyboard. That's not how a modern game should handle VR. I don't want to see ever again two-dimensional trees that rotate with your head in VR. Ever again. I don't want to see Super Mario 64 trees. Dithering too. I don't want to see any dithering. You know, it looks weird. Stop it. I also think you should be able to choose your body style. Color your skin, if you're male or female, you know, your weight, how tall you are. Sometimes you get in the cockpit and your legs are like a foot long. I look down, right? And the driver looks like he has thinner legs than me, and that's weird. Like I'm used to looking down and looking at my thin legs, right? My chicken legs. Those are even more chicken legs than my legs. Maybe the character's bulked up since last time I saw it, but you know, maybe he didn't skip leg day or something. I always skip leg day. I want a dedicated button that I can program to whatever I want. I don't want to push the throttle to start my car. I hate that. I want windshield wipers that turn on and off and speed up and slow down in a way that makes sense. I don't want to have to hold the button to turn windshield wipers on and off when I'm trying to steer. I'm trying to steer my car. I don't want to have to hold a damn button to turn my windshield wipers off. I want to click a button to turn my windshield wipers on and off, and then hold the button to speed or slow them down. It's totally backwards. What the hell are you doing? Have you ever used windshield wipers? Maybe a button or maybe speech recognition to ask your co-driver what the last note was. Because sometimes I'm driving on a long pass, right? And I'm like, damn, did he say something like caution left 2 or something like that? You know, just a repeat button would be nice. I want better visible damage, more akin to Beam NG Drive. I know they can't have like the best crash physics in the world because that would take up too much memory, but I know they can do better than what Dirt Rally 2.0 was. And Dirt Rally 2.0 was not bad, but I want to see more. Back to resetting your car to the track, I wanted to say one more thing. If you flip your car or you're in a ditch and you can't get out, you should not be able to reset your car unless there are spectators in the area. So when I say reset the car, like you shouldn't be able to even have the function of resetting your car unless there are other people around. You know, if those spectators are in a specific area and they're not where you are in real life, you know, you're not getting help. And a lot of times they help and they can't get you out based on how stuck you are. So I think at the very least, I think you should only be able to have the possibility of resetting your car if there are spectators around. You would drive more cautiously in those areas because there is no one to help. If there's like a long 45-kilometer stage and it's a pretty desolate area, in the back of your mind, you're going to be like, okay, I can't drive as hard. I got no help. My co-driver and I are not strong enough to pull this car out of this ditch or to push this car while I'm gunning it on the throttle here. That would be a simulation-worthy feature. I want better particle effects. I think a rally game should have particle effects on par with, you know, how Assetto Corsa's mods are for the tire smoke. That is super impressive. You know, for drifting and stuff, drifters have it good. You know, they got the greatest tire smoke I've ever seen in a game in Assetto Corsa, right? Now, the dirt it's good looking in Dirt Rally 2.0, but it's not as good looking as it should be. And there shouldn't be those weird layers of effects. You know, I want like particle effects that are in 3D space. And, you know, maybe it's super taxing on the GPU or the CPU. I don't know the exact details, but I know I want it to look better, and I know it can look better. Things I don't want to see. There's only a few. I want there to be absolutely zero microtransactions on anything other than completely non-essential things. So I'm okay with like keychains dangling, or like a little hula girl on your dash, or fuzzy dice on the mirror, something like that, like hanging from the mirror. Okay, that's fine. That's just fun little stuff. You know, if you want to basically donate some money to the developer, that's cool. Thank you for supporting the community. But don't make courses and cars, you know, don't like release all these cars for the base game and then release only this car for $5 or something like that. I don't want to see that. Release the game with all the content you made that you intended to be in the game. There's a lot of ways to approach this. You know, like I'm not like 100% right in what I'm saying. Like, you know, some people wouldn't mind paying less for just the core portions of the game. But I don't want to see like every little thing costs this much money, that much money. I don't want this to turn into iRacing. I don't want any day one DLC. For those of you that don't know what that means, it's when a game is released, and as soon as it's released, there are options to buy more things that didn't come in the game, even though that they were developed for the game on time. You know, it's one thing to say like, okay, well, we spent more hours after the game was released and we made this whole other portion of the game. It's 12 more courses, $5. Okay. You know, that sounds acceptable. That sounds reasonable. But if you made that content by the time the game was released, put that shit in the game. I don't want an incomplete game that comes out with limited events, right? Like, so if this game is supposed to be the entire rally season, I want every single event to be in there on day one. I don't want to have to wait 2 months from now, be like, oh, just wait till Spain's released. This game has been in development for long enough for that stuff to be done. If it ends up being that way, it's going to be a scam. It's going to be like, oh, $5 for the Spain pack, $5 for the Honduras pack, $5 for Hawaii. I don't want to have to pay for the old stages, you know, unless some significant changes have been made. Not just like, we increased the resolution, 3 pixels more width and length on the screen. A lot of work went into this, okay? We put a couple extra trees over here. The textures, oh my God, the textures. You can see more leaves per tree now. Give us more money for these same stages. Stop that. I don't want any more cattle grates. I think that's what they're called. Those little cattle things where they fucking break off cows' feet if they step in them. Why do those even exist? I don't want to see those in the game like they are in Dirt Rally 2.0. And what I mean by that is force feedback. I don't want canned, pre-recorded effects, if that makes sense. Even if you're going like 100 miles an hour, you feel it like you ran it over at 10 miles an hour. I don't want that. I want it to be physics-based only with a wheel. Force feedback. On a controller, yeah, make those effects canned. Do it. I love that. And I don't want to ever do a gigantic jump where I land nose heavy straight onto my radiator and drive away clean with it. So in closing, we want a true rally simulation. We don't have one of those besides Richard Burns Rally. And that game needs to be dethroned. We need a modern game to step in and say, listen, I'm better than you. I'm newer. I have all the technology on my side. I have tire chunks missing from my tires because this game is so detailed. Stand down, Richard Burns Rally. Stand down. And this is coming from someone that loves Richard Burns Rally. If I play a racing game and I'm not online with someone, I'm playing Richard Burns Rally. So for me to say I want the game to be dethroned means I'm wanting something more. And it shouldn't be that hard to achieve. We got a set of Corsa Competizione. We got BeamNG. We got all these games that are like super focused on physics and simulation. And then we have rally games. They're not taken seriously for some reason. I don't know why. There's a huge, huge community in the rally community. It's one of the biggest forms of racing worldwide. It's not super well known here in America. It's becoming more well known because of, YouTube and, people like Ken Block, Travis Pastrana, like Americans that are just doing big things for the rally community. Rest in peace, Ken Block. Horrible. Anyway, I don't want to make this about Ken Block. With EA buying this company, it has huge potential. It's got more funding, to be a better game. We want this to be a passion project. We want this game to be all the developers working their hardest to bring an authentic experience. They have the budget to really bring this into the eye of a huge number of people, and we want this to represent the sport accurately, to show how exciting and how raw this sport really is. Let's have this be a game where it's a breeding ground for new talent. You know how Gran Turismo for a long time was the best option, and people were treating it as a serious tool to practice. Kind of like how I said, of course, the Competizione, all these are tools now for real drivers to practice in their off time. Let's have Dirt Rally 3, or whatever this is going to be called, WRC 2023, be that game for rally. I want this game to be the Assetto Corsa of rally. Modability-wise included. I want this game to be moddable. The problem is most developers don't want their game to be moddable because that increases the life cycle of the game. This is especially worrying because this is going to be a yearly release now. So they don't want this game to have a shelf life of over 1 year. They want you to want the newest stages. They want you to want the newest features of the cars, the newest regulations. They don't want you to be able to mod this game and continually update it. So unfortunately, they're probably going to lock this game down harder than Dirt Rally 2.0, because there have been mods made for Dirt Rally 2.0 in the way that, you can change your liveries. Of course, now this next game is going to make it to where you can do that in-game natively, right? You don't have to have a mod. But there was also mods for Dirt Rally 2.0 to, change certain cars to different car models, what cars are available in certain events, certain things that are completely locked in the game, certain graphical changes. I'm sure those will be possible, but that's probably going to be the extent of the modability of this upcoming game, unfortunately. It's sad to me because we need a new base to work off of. Richard Burns Rally, that game engine, being able to squeeze what we can out of it is amazing. And it's still going. They're still finding ways to improve things graphically and physics-wise. We need a new game for that. Maybe we don't need mods. Richard Burns Rally is amazing in its current state, but I want this upcoming game to blow it out of the water. Listen, I know this has been ranty, so I'm going to probably title this Angry Rant or something like that. I know what I want from this next game. You know what you want. Let me know your thoughts on what you want to see in a future rally title. And I know a lot of these things are not going to happen. Have a good day. Thank you all for watching, and I hope to see you in a future video.